Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How many of you are aware of the story of Haatib ibn Abi Balta'a? There's many lessons we can draw from his story. He was one of the early muhajirun. He fought in Badr. He was an emissary of Rasulullah to Maqawqis. But just prior to Rasulullah marching on Mecca in what would be the conquest, Haatib knew of the plans of Rasulullah and he sent a message to the Quraysh in Mecca informing them of the Prophet's plans. Now the reason he did that wasn't because he was murtid, wasn't because he was munafiq. He did it because he was worried about his family in Mecca. He was not Qurayshi. He was an ally of Uthman. And he was afraid that his family would be in danger. So he wanted to do a favor to the Quraysh so that they would look after his family. Rasulullah was given by wahi knowledge of Haatib's betrayal. And Rasulullah asked Haatib to explain, what is this? And Haatib explained why he did what he did. He didn't lie, he didn't try to avoid responsibility for what he had done. He just explained his reasons. He said, I did it because I was concerned about my family. My family is in a weak position, they're vulnerable there. It's not because I don't believe, it's not because I'm not a Muslim, it's not because I'm munafiq, it's not because I'm murtad, it's because I was worried about my family. So Umar bin al-Khattab said, let me execute him. Treason, this is a capital crime. But Rasulullah rejected that and said, you don't know, Haatib was at Badr. And maybe Allah has looked at the people of Badr and said, you have been forgiven. So do what you like. So Haatib was treated with kindness and he was pardoned. There's a lot of lessons that we can draw from this story. We know from Haatib's story that a righteous man can be tempted and can stumble into the impermissible for the sake of his family. This is one of the examples of where your family can be a test for you. Because it's also important to remember that when he was pardoned, he was not pardoned on the basis of his reasoning. That's not why he was forgiven. He was forgiven, this is another lesson, because of his history of good deeds. He had built what we call today clout. And that also tells us on what basis the Muslims are supposed to evaluate and bestow clout upon any individual in our community. It's on the basis of their service to the Ummah and their history of righteous and good deeds. Not wealth, not social status, not looks, not anything but what you have done, what your actions have been that establish you as a righteous person. So if you stumble and you falter, we will stand with you. If we know from your history that you're a good man. And we also know from this story, a violation can either be a moment for punishment or a moment for teaching. In the case of Haatib, it was a moment for teaching. Because of what Haatib did, we all now read the ayah, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu la tattakhidu aduwwi wa aduwwakum awliya. This ayah was revealed in relation to Haatib. From a violation, we know a rule. From a mistake, we learn a lesson. An issue was clarified because of a mistake. We also learn from the story of Haatib, of course, that the person who's in charge of the affairs of the Muslims or in charge of judging a matter always has mercy at their discretion in terms of imposing accountability. So that's just a few lessons that I think we can draw from the story of Haatib. Of course, if you reflect on it, you can draw many, many more. Jazakumullahu khairan wa assalamu alaikum.